Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Before the break, I was given an account of what happened to myself, Bernice Seeley, and Michael Joseph when we went to Dominica to film our season there, and we were caught up in Tropical Storm Erica. Later on, you'll be hearing from Michael himself and also Cynthia Alexander, who I've asked to be part of the show, and she's listening right now, and she's going to help us to talk about our trauma and where we feel we need to go from here on, because we've just been going through lots of things in terms of our lives and the changes. But when I ended the last segment, I spoke of my husband and why we decided that he was the one we wanted to get in touch with first. So thank you so much for being with us today. Can you tell us, when is the first time that you knew that something was wrong?
Well, the morning I received the last message from you on the WhatsApp telling me that the resort had been evacuated in the middle of the night and that the hotel generator was down, there would be no power, you were unable to recharge phones, and you probably will lose communication and not sure what would happen. After that, I had no communication for the next 48 hours until I heard back from Michael. In the meantime, I tried to, I was hoping, reading the news, that I would see maybe some more news about what was happening in Dominica at that point. When I saw that 20 people had died in Petite Savane, which I knew you were in that area as a crew, again I was looking for some news somehow. The families were calling me, asking me if I knew anything. I didn't know anything more than they did. So I waited, and when Michael called me that night late and told me that you need an helicopter to come and lift you because there is no way out of Jungle Bay, basically Jungle Bay had collapsed, was destroyed. I decided to get an helicopter. Now,
Can you remember his exact words, what he said to you?
he told me, you need to get an helicopter, you need to get us out of here, you're the only one that, you know, that we think can do something right now, because we don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. So I called, our families, some friends here that I could rely on to see what to do, to share my thoughts. And the next day I was able to rent an helicopter here in St. Lucia to go to Dominica. However, the time it took to get authorizations to land in Dominica, refuel, where would they refuel, so the helicopter could come back, not being sure where you were all, if you were at Jungle Bay or outside Jungle Bay. All of this took a lot of time, and that was, I would say, 24 hours. Finally on Sunday we were able to go. Everything was set. We got all the clearances we need. And that's when I got a call from Alliance Française in Dominica, telling me that Martinique helicopters had rescued the team and the entire Jungle Bay team.
Okay, but let me just go back a bit. The reason why you got the call from them was
Right.
because they were the first call Michael made, because we had spoken to everybody there and they said our best bet was to call the French rescue team. And I said, okay, fine. For St. Lucia, the first call, because we didn't know whether he was going to get a signal or not, so I said the first call would be to Olivier. Now, you mentioned that you spoke to family first,
Right.
before you did anything.
Right.
But of course, when you called St. Lucia helicopters,
Right.
other people would have been involved. Other people would have known that there were some St. Lucians trapped.
Right. Well, first of all, Liat had a list of passengers from St. Lucia who had been dropped in Dominica, who were in Dominica at that time. Immigration in Dominica knew where you know, where everybody is staying, because you have to do an immigration form when you enter Dominica, like any country. So they know which guest house, which hotel you're staying. So when it was clear on the news that Jungle Bay got destroyed and there were 20 people dead, I mean, a few feet away, I was thinking someone is, you know, everybody's aware, not just me, right? I can't be the only one aware. So I thought there was a search operation maybe for people there, which today, you know, 10 days later, I know everybody is saying they've been searching, and you know, now 10 days later, it's everybody is talking about Dominica, but at that time, I really, we felt alone, the few people involved in this. Because I didn't see in the news anything more than what's happening in Dominica in general. You know, when Liat knew there was a way to find out who flew there from St. Lucia or from anywhere else, and where they were exactly.
Well, the French knew, they found us. And one of my worries was, well, we're not French. So are they going to just take all the French people first and then transport us later? But we were lucky. We were the fourth set of people to get out. But then when we got to Roseau, we were left to our own defenses. That was it.
Well,
that was it. We were left on our own. But there was nobody. Well, we had a signal, so then I was able to call you to tell you that we had arrived safely. But then again, I have to say, it's an unfortunate thing that I didn't feel that I could call a government official in St. Lucia who I felt would have dropped everything to make things happen. I knew I had to put my faith in the person who was going to do that for us, because it wasn't just me, it was for us. And that is my response to anyone who wants to talk about government. And you, if you had to put your hand on your heart, you would agree with me. Most people tend to go to the place that they feel safe and reassured, and you know you're going to get out of there and not leave it up to. But at the same time, I was very disappointed that the week before I sent a press release out to the media in St. Lucia to say that Dolor Factor is going to the jungle, and not one media person remembered. Oh my gosh, didn't Delia say that she was going to go to Dominica? Her team is, not one person remembered, or if they did remember, nobody made the effort. And I know that because as soon as we got to Roseau and we got a signal, I checked all my emails before I said anything. And everything, all I got was messages from some of the fans who had remembered that we had gone. Some of the people in Dominica who were looking forward to us being in Dominica. Some of the people who I was going to interview who couldn't make it, they were checking that we were going to be okay. So we had and also my family from all over the world, my family. Even some people asking me for Bernice and asking for Michael. These are the people who I had messages waiting for me, and no one else. So this, as I say, is a report on what happened to us. Take it any way that you want to take it, but this is what happened to us. And so much more happened. And it's not about who saved the day, it's about certain things have got to be looked at so that when emergencies happen, you can say when a certain emergency happens, sometimes protocol has got to go by the wayside. The same way that the French people managed to rescue us, took them to their French place, and the French people there called all their families and let them know what was happening. Why wasn't that available to us? Why didn't we know, or why wasn't someone who spoke English, but they did anyway, the people at where we went, they knew, why wasn't there any instruction to say, well, in a situation, blah, 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 help or assist, or this is the solution consulate, or this is the solution person, that, because you have to remember, and I'm not talking about me personally, I'm talking about any St. Lucian or any other person in another country who is visiting and a disaster happens. There should be somewhere that they know that person in that island, so that person in Dominica should have known who to call from St. Lucia to come to us and to assist us, because we were left on our own to find somewhere to stay, to find something to eat, to get ourselves out of Dominica to Martinique, and that itself was another situation because when we tried to get the tickets, everyone was trying to get the tickets before us and all kinds of stuff. Then they even refused us to leave Dominica because they said we had a St. Lucian passport. There was a lot going on. So before people start leaping, listen to the story and then assist and help us to support other people who might find themselves in that situation. This is the Dolor Factor. We'll be right back.